another one, yeah. It's a full span, yeah. Oh, it's another one, it's another one, yeah.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning all over the world. This is our Boxing Hub featuring Trey, yours truly Trey, and my name BNG. What's good?
All good, cuz, man. Obviously, I see you got the shirt on today. So, I mean, you're looking sharp. Come on.
It's
Loving
a hot
the
day.
energy.
It's a hot day. Can't complain. It's a hot day. It's a lovely day. It's a lovely day.
Big up to you. Obviously, big up to iBoxing Hub as well for creating this platform for us to just come on and talk boxing. And look, enough shout. Look, I just have to give a big shout out as well to Sean Buchanan. He's obviously hooked us up with something sweet. So until then, we're just gonna go live and we're gonna just talk boxing, cuz, man. So, what's your thoughts, man, about midweek so far?
Woo. Do you know what? I've been watching the press conference, Errol Spence and Crawford. I'm liking it. Something tells me, like I've said this so many times, it's going to be a close one. But if Crawford doesn't do the job, Errol will win.
You know what? Look, big up Fonda Reed as well. He's obviously saying, is it Prince Patel? No, it's not Prince Patel. We had him obviously in the previous show. So if you haven't watched it, go back on iBoxing Hub. The video's there. And also, if you don't have time to watch it, just, listen to it on Spotify. It's also on there as well. Yeah, because I'm not even going to lie to you. The fight is a tremendous one. You're looking at the build-up. I've been waiting for this fight, for years. And look, we have, our special guest. Look, Natasha, I have to do this, and give me time. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear us? Oh, perfect. Yeah, look,
yep,
I can hear you. This.
Yeah.
Perfect. Natasha, so I'm going to do this for you. We have to introduce, Miss GB, unified light middleweight champion, IBF, WBC, WBO, Ring Magazine. And remember, she's the first woman to, win the British Boxer of the Year, via the British Board of Control. So massive shout out to you. And look, happy birthday in advance for the weekend. We're not going to speak to you, but I just wanted to throw it out there just in case. Just putting it out there.
Cheers, thank you very much. Yeah, what an introduction.
Thank you. I had to. Look, we've got a world champion, and thank you for blessing us, with that. You are actually our first, world champion, so thank you. So I have to, for that as well. And, yeah, cuz, all yours, man.
Oh, Natasha, again, thank you again for tuning in on the show. A question I always ask every boxer, what got you into boxing for the viewers?
Yeah, it was just a good mistake, a good accident. I was playing football over in America on a scholarship, got injured, decided to come home, lost a load of friends, gained a lot of weight, and was kind of like unmotivated to do anything. So I started going to my uncle's karate gym just to train and lose weight. And a lady used to live over the road because it used to be in a bit of a rough part of Liverpool, and she used to watch the gym when he wasn't there. And she was like, "I see you training by yourself. You like come and train at the local gym," which was the Rotunda ABC. And after months and months of fabbing off, I thought, right, just to shut this woman up, I'm going to go. And the next time she says, I'll just say I didn't like it. And I went, and that was 18 years ago now. I have never looked back.
Wow.
It's nearly 2 decades, and
don't remind me.
I'm sorry. And look, in life, I believe in sort of telepathic energy, and I'm not even going to lie to you. One of my notes for today was actually, how was your experience in the States? Because I saw that you had a football scholarship in the States, and it's crazy how life could, you know, create these situations, and accidents are truly amazing, you know.
Yeah, like honestly, like I say, it was like 20 years ago now, but like I was a kid that like I didn't even think I was clever enough to go to university. Um, but like sport was my motivation to do anything, and I struggled in school, and obviously the lessons that I learned is that it wasn't because I couldn't do it. I just didn't apply myself the same way I did with sport. But when I had to get a certain scores and certain results to be able to get to the universities over there, I got them because the sport was my driving factor behind that. So then that changed like my perception of education, because it wasn't that I couldn't do it. It's just that I thought about it in a different way. But the experience was, you know, I'm a, I was a young girl from Toxteth, you know, I'd barely been out the country, and to be able to go to America at the time, it was the pinnacle for football. It probably still is. America is still the number one female team. So, you know, I had my eyes set and my heart set on being the next Mia Hamm, and you know, I knew the first step to that was to become get into a college in the USA, and you know, get seen by Nike or whoever it was, and get onto a team, and then do that process. But obviously it never worked out. But like you say, like things happen for a reason. You know, it's worked out in other ways.
I love the motivation. Wow. Now that's amazing. I mean, what advice would you give, you know, an upcoming young athlete who wants to become a professional boxer?
I think this is like becoming a little bit of my buzzword, but like literally, I say it all the time. It's like work hard, try your best, never give up, and you know, above everything else, believe in yourself at all times, and don't let anybody discourage you from, you know, sometimes your dreams will scare you, and they're supposed to, but they'll petrify other people, and that's, you know, that's not on you. That's, you've just got to, you know, that's not for you to deal with. You know, you're gonna fall down. You're gonna have to get back up. But if that's what you want truly with all your heart, and you're willing to work at it, the belief is the thing that you'll need, and that's what will keep you going. And sometimes nobody else can see what you can see, or you know, and you've just got to keep going with what you believe. Like I say, I never wanted to be a boxer or anything else like that, but I did tell my mum at 4 years old that I was going to the Olympics, and it took me 24 years, about 105 sports, but I got there in the end. So
You know what? It just leads me to sort of this point that I wanted to sort of ask you. In fact, you obviously mentioned you wanted to be a you know, a footballer, and the fact that your sister, you know, Nikita, playing for Manchester United as well. And it goes, actually, I wanted to ask before I get into that, who did you support as a sort of football club growing up?
we're both Liverpool supporters. I know,
Ooh.
but she loves to test me loyalty. She's played so far. She's played for Everton,
Yeah,
Man City,
yeah,
Lyon,
yeah.
Arsenal, which I didn't actually mind Arsenal, and now Man United. So
Oh,
she's
how did
took
you feel
the
about
mick
that?
most of the time. She's took the mick, but yeah, like I don't buy the tops.
Oh, no, I love that. I absolutely love that. How do you feel about her sort of making it in football? I just feel that, especially, I've got a niece who is a aspiring athlete. You know, she's 15. She just obviously joined the athletics team. So, what does it take? Obviously, you mentioned this hard work, believing in yourself, but were there moments that you felt sort of doubt in sort of the come up?
all the time, all the time, and like every time I thought like a door's closed, like you think, how am I now? Now what do I do? And like something will always present itself. I think it's how you look at it. I think for Kita, like, you know, we grew up in the same place, and I know how hard it is to not conform to stereotypes, and to be that girl who is one of the lads and doesn't like to do the girly things, and doesn't want to do the girly things, and wants to play with the lads. And it's, when all your mates are doing certain stuff, and you're like, well, I can't because I've got training tomorrow, or I've got a match tomorrow, and they're going out on weekends, they're going on dates, and you're like, well, actually, I've got this tomorrow, and that's hard because a lot of your teenage years, all you want to do is fit in. I hid how good I was at sports for a very long time because I was embarrassed. That in school, I'd be like, where are you going? I'd be like, I'm just going to the shop, and I'd be going to the school sports teams and like the training, and I wouldn't be telling my mates because it wasn't seen as the thing to do. I think now it's a lot. Well, I'd like to think now that it's a lot more accepting, but there's still a lot of stereotypes around women in sport, how you should look, who you can be and what you are, and it's about time that things change, and we are slowly breaking down them barriers, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
Big up to Sean Buchanan as well, and look, he's running the Equal Start project, and look, I'm hoping that we can get some donations to him through our work with Ticket Pass. But he's saying, look, people's champion, and for me, I think you are the people's champion, because in this sort of first 10 minutes you've been able to sort of go through your journey, which, yes, is 2 decades, but it's been a tremendous journey, and I love the fact that you're up there now, and you deserve everything that you have right now. And what's next? Like, what's your ambitions? Like, I know that's a cliche question, but I just feel that you're at a pinnacle right now where you could retire if you wanted to, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I did say to Joe, I think he keeps on saying it, but I said I want to win a world title and then we'll retire. And then I won the world title, and I thought, nah, actually, I've got more left in the tank. And then, I won a second world title, and I was like, still got a bit more, Joe. I won a third one, and I'm like, yeah, still want to keep going. So I think I can't put a limit on it, but I remember when I was coming to the end of GB, and it stopped being fun, and it became a chore to be there and to do that. And like, because the mindset was that I didn't want to be there, and it was hard work. It made it extra hard for me to train and go through that process, because them squads are so hard. And once I suppose I get into that routine, or that I feel like I'm not improving, or I can't, and there's no opportunities, then that's the day I will. I wouldn't. I think I've got enough, people around me that would look after me and be honest, and would tell me and let me know that that now's your time to bow out gracefully. So until that time, and until like I don't feel that I'm enjoying it, or until I've got no more opportunities or nothing to prove to myself, ever since the Namas, all I'm doing now is proving stuff to myself. I honestly don't care about what anybody thinks or says, or why don't you take this and why don't you do that, because I'm enjoying my ride, and I'm just doing what I want.
I like that. I really like that. I like that. I mean, once boxing said and done, once you're done, would you consider going back into football?
No. I do a lot of charity matches and stuff, but to be honest, like I watch the standard of women's football now. Obviously, I follow my sister to the end of the year to watch it in big competitions, and I wouldn't get in the team now. And even on the charity matches, I remember playing a charity match with Gloves Up and Arms Down, and it was like, I played it on the Saturday, I think, and I was still hitting on the Thursday. I was like, oof. And I'm not an unfit individual, at least I don't think so. So I was just like, yeah, that's a different kind of set of engines that are just leg work that I just don't have in me anymore. You've got to pick your fights and be true to yourself. Know your battles.
Apart from your division, is there any other division that interests you?
Every division except any. I mean, if you've seen any of the fights of last year, that you'll know, like I couldn't even get above 150. So 154 is definitely the limit, as high as I can go. I've made no lie about saying that I'd never make super feather again. So they've got lightweight, super lightweight, welter, and everything in between. So any of them, and I do want to challenge big people in them divisions, and I want to get me Katie revenge. And I do pop up in loads of people's conversation. People tag me and stuff. People call me out and whatever. But like I say, I just choose what's best for me and make the decisions. What I've always believed in like taking your opportunities when they come, and I'd hate to sit back in 20 years' time and not have took an opportunity and think, damn it, I wish I'd have took that. And you can like we'll
Oh, I think we lost somebody. You saw that?
We've lost one. Yeah.
How are you finding, the boxing scene overall? Like the women's division.
As in women's boxing scene, or?
Yes, the women's boxing scene.
The women's boxing seems flying at the moment. I mean, you asked Jane Couch about paydays and about, her struggle to get on the scene, and then you compare it to us now. There's a whole lot of difference, and rightly so. So it should. We've still got bits of ways to go, but we're heading in the right direction. And I think once you get that like eureka moment in your sport, I think we've had some great nights. Taylor Serrano, Clarissa, and Savannah. And myself being on some big shows, Terry Harper being on some big shows, and there's some Michaela Meyer being on some big shows. There's some big names out there in the females, and what's great is that everyone wants to fight, and I think the men are following suit. Of late, we're just waiting for Fury to confirm someone big, and then we can say that they've got it all. But I think Tank and Garcia was a huge fight. I think Usyk and Joshua, and it was a good fight. I think, Spence Crawford, the fight, the holy grail we've all been waiting for. And then there's Loma and Josh Taylor Lopez. There's been some great fights, and I think that's what boxing needs sometimes. In MMA, we see them top people fighting, and that's what the fans enjoy. And sometimes in boxing, because of the networks, because of the sanctions, because of the governing bodies, it's sometimes a little bit harder to make. But there is a whole business behind boxing that sometimes fans either don't understand or don't see. But it can be ruthless, and it can make fights impossible.
I mean, what's your prediction on Spence and Crawford? Who do you reckon is going to win? It's a tough one, isn't it? I'll tell you my prediction. This is my prediction. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. But I reckon if Crawford doesn't knock out Spence, right? If it goes to distance, I reckon that Spence will win.
I get it. I don't think there'll be a knockout.
Ooh.
I don't think there'll be a knockout, but I don't know. It genuinely is a 50-50. I think the time out the ring potentially could affect Spence. But for me, between Spence and Stevenson, they're the two best fighters on the planet. Like, obviously there's a new way, and there's Usyk and all the others, Canelo, whatever. But for me, stylistic wise, and as a southpaw myself, they're the ones that I look to and think, right, yeah, that's a style I love. They can fight on the front foot, fight on the back foot, they can punch, they can box. And yeah, they're the ones that excite me the most.
Okay. So I'm hearing there's a big event in December, I believe, Joshua and Wilder. How do you see that one going?
Another tough one, I think. Josh has to stay away from a Wilder backhand for 12 rounds. That's basically 10 rounds, whatever it's going to be. It's going to be tough. We've seen from Wilder, once he lands, there's just no getting away from it. And can Josh keep away from that for 12 rounds? And can Josh knock him down? I think so. I think the way Josh stops it is by overwhelming him. It's not going to be a one punch thing. It'd be like a cluster of punches that he has to throw. But yeah, I think Josh can do it. I'm gonna go with Josh.
Yeah, same here. I'm gonna have to agree with you. Same here. I reckon it's gonna be a tough fight, but I reckon from round one he just has to put it on Wilder. That's
Yeah.
the only way. He has to put it on him. Any slip up,
The
then
thing is, the thing about Wilder is like you look at Wilder and you know like the physically for the heavyweight, he's very small. His legs are tiny, and then there's nothing that he does that you think you'd get a kid down in the amateur gym and sit back and say, "Look at this, watch this," like, except the power. He's got freakish power, and I don't know where it comes from. And half the shots you can see because they come from his ankles, but when they land, nobody gets up except Fury. Nobody gets up, and so there's something behind it, and that's the stuff you can't teach.
I mean, I think Joshua has to do what Fury done. He just has to fight dirty and just apply pressure.
More
Again, you know, could be wrong. What about do you think Usyk could cause an upset if he fights Fury?
Listen, I'm never betting against Tyson Fury ever again. Every time I like say something about Fury, it's always wrong. So no, I'm saying Fury wins. He's just, again with Fury, sometimes there's not any in particular you'd ever point out as being a great asset, but he makes what you're good at bad. He turns your pluses to a negative, and it might make for a boring fight or might make for whatever, but he knows how to win. He knows how to win rounds. He's very experienced in winning rounds, and he's very clever the way he does it because he just nullifies what you're good at.
Okay. All right. My next question is did you watch the fight between Zhang and Joe Joyce?
Yeah, I did.
Do you think there's any adjustment that Joyce can do to beat Zhang?
I think just move out the way of the backhand. It just couldn't miss all night, and it's like any southpaw versus an orthodox. You're going to say slip outside and throw your backhand. You know that's bread and butter. So, and he's fought good southpaws in the amateurs, but Zhang just didn't seem to miss at all. Every single backhand he threw, whichever way he threw it, landed. So, you know, we all know that, you know, Joe's tough and, you know, his work rate and his engine, but, you know, at that level and at that weight, you can't keep taking them shots. So, you know, I'd like to see him, you know, his defense a lot better and his feet a lot better. Joe can move. He can be agile. So I don't know why. I mean, sometimes when you're an amateur and you turn pro, you get this thing about you that you just can't. You have to stop and you can't move. But you know, as you see with, you know, Loma, Spence, Crawford, and Stevenson, you can still, even Lopez, you can still move and box. You can still move your feet, and I'd like to see a bit of that.
I reckon that the problem with the heavyweights is that they get hit too much, and some of their defense is not really that good. I feel that they need to work on their defense because them blows, they're tough. Them blows, they're really, really tough.
Even at 154, I could feel the difference between that and, you know, and I was thinking, like, I just think that heavyweight division is no joke. Getting shots from big guys like that is absolutely no joke. And like you say, even for longevity, you don't want to be okay, Joe's tough and he can take shots, but, you know, is he going to last another 4 or 5 years in the game taking shots like that? Probably not. So, you know, if you're coming, just for longevity and life after boxing, when you need your senses, that you don't want to be taking shots like that.
Cool. I want to know when's your next fight?
It's going to be July the 1st.
July the 1st. Cool. The next thing I wanted to ask, I usually ask a lot of boxers this, is that how do you prepare for training camp?
For the training camp, I'm like I'm like I keep myself in the gym all year round. I'm very fortunate to have, you know, good financial support from sponsors and and family support to be able to look after the baby. Where like I'm not saying I'm intense all year round, but like I've got one job, and that's to be fit and be ready. So that's what I do. I stay in the gym. There's you'll never see me for long periods out of the gym at all. Even when I'm not in a camp, I'm in the gym 2-3 times a week. So like yeah, I'm never away from it long enough to have to mentally prepare myself to get back in. I think sometimes you can go through the motions when you haven't got a fight date, but when that fight date comes, there's like a change in thought process, and that's just, you know, now you've got the date. Now that's as the baby says, the baby, I'm mummy, but when a fighting comes, I'm Miss GB. So that's when Miss GB mode kicks in.
I mean, would you, at any point, would you like to fight Claressa Shields this year if the opportunity was presented to you?
I think the opportunity's gone now, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a big talking point, and we spent so much time of the back end of last year and the start of this year trying to make that fight happen that we kind of let all the other good fights go. And then everyone had fights and I had none. And I was having to wait for the results of other people's fights. But yeah, I think it's well and truly gone. Would I like the fight? Yeah, but I think it's gone now, and I'm going the other way to 154 and not going up.
Fair enough. And what's your views on people? You know, they're overlooking Daniel Dubois because obviously, you know, he's fighting Usyk next. Do you think he's got an opportunity? He's got a chance, you know, to become unified champion?
You like we said before, anyone in that heavyweight division, you've got a chance. You've got a puncher's chance. I do think Usyk's a bit too clever and a bit too experienced for. I think it might be a little early, but I also understand why Dubois would take the fight and why their team would want to take the fight. You've got to take chances and you've got to take risks if you know, take your opportunities if you ever progress. Staying comfortable is not going to get you anywhere. It's being uncomfortable and putting yourself in them situations. And there's a little bit of, you get that some bit between your teeth when everybody thinks that you can't, or at least I do. And I remember with the Terry Harper thing, everyone just totally wrote me off, and I was thinking, nah, it annoyed the life out of me, and that gave me that extra bit in camp to be like, no, there's no way that this is going to go how they say it or they think it is.
Welcome back, Trey. Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah. Look, I'm sorry. I don't even know what happened, but technical difficulties. But Cuz, thank you so much for, you know, taking over. But Cuz, sorry, I'm gonna have to butt in. I need to get the champ's thoughts once again on what she thinks about Errol Spence, The Truth, versus Terence Bud Crawford. I'm gonna say this before you say it, and I hope you remember this. The Truth will be revealed July 29th, and that's my prediction. Okay. If you read in between the lines, I think you know what I mean.
We have spoke about it a little bit, but it's it's just it's a tough one to call, and I think I'll probably change my mind about 105 times in the build-up because you know you see things on social media and you see whatever, but I've said like maybe time out the ring will affect Spence and go in Crawford's favour, but I also think Spence is one of my favourite boxers, and talent-wise, I just think his talent is limitless, and every time he needs to adapt to a certain style or, you know, he does and he can do, and he's got everything in his locker. For me, he's got everything in his locker.
I'm glad, you know, I'm glad the champ agrees that, you know, Spence. But no, I'm not disregarding Crawford. I think Terence Crawford is a great fighter. You know, he's been undisputed. He's reached the pinnacle, you know, at a low division, and at welterweight, he's obviously got 6 knockouts. He's beaten 10 he's knocked out last 10 opponents, right? He's stopped them or knocked them out. Yeah, it's going to be a tough fight, but I agree with the champ. I reckon, you know, Spence just has more in his locker. I think he's just got that extra oomph that will get him through the gritty moments, because we saw it against, and I was talking to my one of my closest friends, Mitchell, and he knows. Spence, we became a fan after he came to England and beat, Kell Brook in Sheffield.
We did see though him fall
Yeah.
behind, or at least in my eyes,
Came
he was behind on the
to
couple of the
England.
card. Sorry to interrupt.
You still there?
No, exactly. Yeah, I'm here.
In fact, I've got a question for both of you.
Yeah.
Tank vs Haney, Natasha.
Ooh. You threw it out there, man.
Yeah. It's a tough one, isn't it?
You know what? I'm gonna say Tank.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
I just think, I don't. Haley did amazing. I don't think it was the robbery that everyone says. But I did have Loma winning. But there was a couple of rounds. It was a bit just what you like. Well, you can pick out the flaws, and nothing really. His jab's brilliant, and we knew that anyway from the Kambosos fights. But I just think Tank will be too much, and you've got it. Tank's always got that shot as well. Like you can go into round 11 and say, right, you need a knockout, and he can get it.
Yeah,
and we've seen it.
That's what I'm saying.
You can be outboxed and outsmarted, but you've got to do that for 12 rounds, and it's hard to keep your concentration. And I think anyone else who gets in with Haney will alert the referee to the holding, like we seen with Lawrence Okoli. I think that'll become a big thing, because there was a lot of he is known for throwing a combination and holding, and I think that will become a thing now, because I just do.
Do you know what? Yeah, as a boxing fan, I was a bit disappointed with that performance with Lawrence Okoli and Chris. Yes. I mean, look, credit to Chris. He done what he needed to do, but I just expected more. I mean, the rematch can't be the same. Lawrence has to do something different, and Chris as well. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, to be honest, if I'm totally honest, like Chris Billam-Smith, it was a great win for him. I don't think anyone expected that, but I also think Lawrence lost it more than Chris won it. I think. But what's scary is that, and this is just my opinion, I don't know if Lawrence can change. If you're on your second warning for the same thing and you're still doing it, like it's almost like he throws a backhand, and before it's even connected, he's already trying to scoop up with his lead hand the other person before that. So it's like I'm gonna have to show you. So it's like he's like. And he's trying to scoop up before he's even landed with a backhand, and it's got him so far that, and it's so ingrained that I just don't know if he can. And I've seen a bit of the train and stuff, and I don't think it's his fault. I just don't know if he can get that out of him. And then more than ever, it just was very apparent that there's no plan B. There's a plan A, and that's it.
Well, it'll be interesting.
I agree. Yes, Pablo Escobar said, "What? Let's go, champ! Big up! You know what I was just about to say is the performance overall. I just felt that Lawrence. I agree with you. He should have. No, but it's not really much he should have. Like you said, I think those are his habits, and it gets to my point about, you see, you've had a couple of decades, in this boxing game, whereas certain fighters have been sort of fast tracked to the world championship, let's say. Mm-hmm. Do you think that, in a way, we're seeing not just the Lawrence Okoli situation, but we're seeing a lot of fighters being fast tracked to become a world champion, and then when the tough fights do come, we're seeing, the real skills?
I honestly believe what we're seeing is how good the amateurs actually is. Because I think within 3 fights, Loma was a champion. In our 2012 team, there's been Anthony Joshua, Josh Taylor, Luke Campbell, myself, Nikki, and there's a couple of others that have all fought for. I think there's only Fred and Anthony Ogogo that haven't fought for a world title, and that just goes to show how good the amateurs is. So there is there's definitely a fast track for them Olympiads. Which I don't think is always necessary. And maybe when like a bit like Azim, everyone's in a rush. And I know he wants to be the youngest ever champion, but if you become a champion at like 21, 22, 23, then what you do then? You just defend your titles till you're 30. Is that what you're going to do? Just for me, it doesn't make sense to rush them. That's just my opinion. I just don't think there's any rush. Let them learn the skills. Let them learn the trade. Let them make some money. You fast track them to thingy. You've missed out on a whole heap of paydays and big events and big nights. And yeah, you'll get your money when you're there, but then you don't, and then you get put to the bottom of the pile again. So let them just work their way and learn their craft. Because I'm still learning now. I'm 16, I think, fights in, and every fight is different, and every fight I'm learning something new. Every fight, you've got to learn, and even the ones I've lost, I've always learned something, and you take that into your next one. But there's no rush. I rush because I haven't got time on my side. But when you're Caroline Dubois, when you're Adam Azim, even Daniel Dubois, you don't need to rush.
I like that.
Jeez.
It's
great. It's great advice. Tremendous advice, because go on, cuz
No, I was just gonna say, add on to that. I suppose sometimes the question is it, are you chasing legacy or are you chasing money? Was it a bit of both?
I think it's a bit of both. Like, people talk about money and say it's not about the money. It is about the money, because we're prize fighters. That's what we are. We get money at the end of it, and I've been guilty of saying it before myself. But money is a big factor in boxing. But then there's also things that, like, for me, morals are big. So there's I know there'll be people screaming, you didn't fight Terry or whatever, because morally, I stuck to my morals, and that's, like, at the end of the day, I've just got to be comfortable and live with myself and what decisions I've made and whatever. And I have to stick to who I believe I am to do that. And I try and not let this game change me. And it's easily done. But, for me, it's definitely a mixture of both.
Wow, it's nice. It's powerful. I just love the honesty at the end of the day. It just sort of just makes me think, in fact, that in terms of making fights, it must be very difficult, because us fans, we sort of look from the outside looking in and think, why is she not fighting so and so? When it's so difficult for you as a fighter to be able to sort of tell, I don't know, your promotional company and also your management team, look, I want to take this fight, but I always feel that there is, because money's involved, they're also trying to protect their assets as well. So you fighters shouldn't never get blamed for certain fights not happening. So us fans, we need to understand that as well. It's business.
Yeah, I said it before, there's a whole business behind this sport that, like, not everybody gets to see, and you are an asset, but you can, quickly not be an asset. And even for myself last year, like, I can go and fight next week and get beat, and then everything that they've invested in me, kind of, like, because you are an investment as well. So it's not just a case of, I got that fight, I got this fight, and I didn't take this fight. It's what people are willing to pay and what companies are willing to put on the screens. There's so many different, like, sectors of making a fight. It isn't just do you used to want to fight. That I wish it was that simple, but it's not. It's like what broadcast does it go on? Who's going to promote it? You know, what's going to be the wages? Who's paying the wages? How much are you, if you're going across to that one, how much are you giving to your promoter because you've gone cross promotional? So there's a 100 million different like sectors of a contract, and then you've got, you know, contract that you're already in that you know stipulates certain things, and you've got to stick to that. So, and then fight paces have got to be agreed. There's a lot that goes on, and I wish sometimes I could just say, right, this is how it is, but then you're held to, you know, contractual, you know, I'm not saying NDAs, but you know, there's part of your contract, it's part of stuff that you just can't divulge. And it would be so much easier if we could, but then that opens a whole, you know, a whole nother can of worms, because, you know, let's be honest, as much as the promoters invest in you and want you to do well for them, this is about them making money, and they are a business and they don't want their business to lose money either. So you're just a commodity to them, and if you're not making doing what they thought you would do on the tin, you're easily just left behind. And then, you know, there's a whole other side to boxing and a whole other, you know, thing that people have to go through to bring yourself back from that, and it can be tough.
Wow.
Some people never come back from it.
That's just stressful. That's just stressful. Wow.
Yeah. I'm just in. Not obviously we know that's the situation. That's the sport, of course, but that's why I'm so happy. Like, we could say right now, the big fights are happening. We've had back-to-back fights. You know, you've got a tremendous award, and I know, you know, whatever fight that you take next is going to be beneficial for yourself and for your career. So I know you're going to be undisputed. I know you are. So I just can't wait for that moment. Let's wait for that moment to happen, because you deserve it. Honestly, just hearing your story and just hearing, you know, the come up, the struggles, the trials and tribulations that you've gone through, it's also a reminder. And I hope that I could show this to my niece and, you know, tell her that, look, keep believing in your dreams, keep working hard, and you could get to where you need to get to. Just believe in yourself. And thank you so much for, you know, your insight, your energy as well. It's much appreciated as well. It's an early birthday gift, I would say.
Happy birthday for Sunday.
Happy birthday for Sunday. God bless you.
We'll not say how old I am, but yeah.
No. We're gonna take off. We're gonna take off 20 years.
Then I'm in my prime.
Yes. Come on. Yeah, you're in your prime, of course. Of course.
All right then. Well, listen, guys. You know, this is the end of the show. Tasha, thank you again, you know, for being our guest on the show. You know, we're here every Wednesdays and Sundays at 7:30. Remember, guys, to like, share, and subscribe, and have a lovely, blessed week. And we're out. Tasha, happy birthday. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Happy birthday in advance, Tasha, again. And guys, look, I just wanted to say before we go, massive shout out to me, Miss GB. I don't care, man. So world champion. We got to give her just dues. And guys, look, we do this pod just for you guys' access. So hopefully everyone enjoyed it, man. So big up.
Cheers. Thank you.
Good night, all.
Oh.
Good night.
It's another band. All the Muslim cars now, whichever get up. Light up my card with a sweet one, please. Someone flicks me a bag by the end. Say, oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah. It's a full strand, yeah. Oh, it's another one.